And now we're live
Hey,
and recording. And we may be over on YouTube.
we hopefully are.
But don't bring it up. That'll mess things up.
Yeah. Just stay right here. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. But hello, folks. If you haven't been with us before, we're Matrix Talk, Kevin and Phil. I'll say hello from Maine.
And I already said TGIF, but I'll say hi from Philadelphia.
So what we're showing you there is you can text to us. And
we like this.
And that's how we communicate with you. And there's Philly, so nobody else has been brave and typed in. You can just say hello.
Where you're from.
If you say where you're from.
There you go. There's Emmanuel.
Now we're international already.
Oh, there's the Hawkeyes.
Oh, Hawks, we're a Buckeye. All right.
Hi, Julie.
That's good. And hi from
Georgia.
Apple.
Nice.
Yay, there we go. Whoa. So now we've got Midwest, we got South, we got, well, obviously the Northeast. Phil and I the Northeast.
Got any maybe there we go.
LA, there's LA, there's the West Coast. Now we got Nova Scotia.
Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. Yay.
All right.
Man, we're doing good.
We are doing
yeah, so we'll kick things off pretty quick here, just because we are over on YouTube, and so this will be recorded and available, and see if people pick up on it. And our take on sort of little rewording, relooking at Paul Krugman's Krugman. I don't know.
I think it's Krugman. I think that's how I've heard it pronounced.
If you don't know, he's a Nobel Prize winning economist.
Yes.
What he is.
An opinion
and also an opinion columnist
for the New York Times.
But pretty cool guy to listen to, most definitely. And we saw this article, both of it. And
you brought it to each other's attention.
Brought it to each other's attention because it had so much to do with what we call ProSocial. And so we're going to look at it from just like the same thing. The Matrix, that's us, takes a look at a ProSocial look at the cult of selfishness. So that's what we'll be doing today. It's 1:03. We can get started pretty quick. If you're not familiar with the Matrix, we'll get people started with that. It's very simple. It looks like that. But I'm looking at Phil's. It's a little blurry right now, but there's senses at the top, mentals at the bottom.
Wait a minute. And mine's at the bottom. Sorry.
Mental at the bottom. It has the word toward. Toward over to the right and away over to the left.
There we go. That's
and you start it. You introduce people to looking at things using the Matrix with asking the question, "Who's important to you?" Hi from England. All right, Frida.
All right, England.
And so we start off that, and so any human, including the humans that Paul Krugman is referring to, well, best we can tell, they all have people who are important to them.
Yeah.
And I'll read it for folks. It's in the lower right corner, and it's, for whatever reason, Phil, it's just not focused.
Oh, okay.
All right. Going in today. Now it sort of is, but it says who's important to you is what that says. And that's what we start with. And we engage people in a conversation about who's important to you. If you feel like it, you can type in a couple of responses about who's important to you. I'll put in my usual wife. There we go. And Phil's got his daughter in. And then we got a husband coming in. All right. How nice.
All right.
So, and that's how you do it. You just have people
just like that.
Respond like that. It's no big deal. And you can start. It's just a point of view. It's a way of looking at things. And so we're going to look at Paul Krugman's article. using this point of view. The next part of the point of view is in the lower, my boss, there we go. In the lower left part, we talk about yucky stuff that shows up inside of people. We all have yucky stuff that shows up inside of us, like fear. And you just tell people that example, fear shows up. But there's other yucky stuff that shows up inside of us all.
Like
I already gave you fear. What other? Anybody else got any unpleasant
angst? Ooh,
angst shows up. Most definitely angst and frustration. Oh no, and selfishness. Oh my God. Now that would be it feels yucky. Your selfishness feels yucky.
You don't want it, and it got to kind of.
And it can feel yucky, but it doesn't have to feel yucky. But inside of Chad, it's yucky.
Yeah.
And
burned out.
That's a popular one these days.
I'm hearing that a lot.
Yeah. So, and you go on and on and on. People got all kinds of stuff that shows up. And remember, we're just looking at humans from this point of view. So humans got people who are important to them. We put them over there in the lower right. Humans have yucky, unpleasant feeling stuff, thoughts and feelings that show up in the lower left. Yep. And then we go to the upper part, which is behavior. Right. We go upstairs there, and we go to behaviors up above yucky stuff. And we ask, what kind of stuff do you do to
get away from
less
stuff down here,
rid of whatever kind of language that you want to use, that yucky stuff. So, for example, if you were afraid, you might run away. Yep. So that's the fear thing. So there's all kinds of stuff people do. So if you're feeling angst, what might you do, Julie, if you were feeling angst?
Move away from your
and you wanted to get away from it, lessen it.
Avoid it.
Whatever. Know, huh?
Complain. Hey, yes, very popular.
That's one of the more popular ones. Very, very popular.
One of my favorites, actually.
Yes. Many people use that one.
And then we got if frustration were to show up, you might see it.
The manual also says complain.
Oh yeah,
run away. We got complain. Okay. I'll just go ahead and put it up there in case people are reticent. People drink. They drink wine. They drink whiskey. They smoke dope. And they go for walks. There we go, Kevin. We can just go take a walk.
All right.
Get rid of some of that yucky stuff.
Walk.
And
yourself. Yes.
Exactly. Watch Netflix or play with something.
Yeah. Whatever your favorite distraction is.
Oh, whittle. I don't know.
Yeah. Responsibilities. Oh, yeah. Oh. Absolutely, Chad.
All right. And so that's how it looks. And we're normalizing it because we all do this stuff. It's part of life.
Just stuff people do. That's all.
Right. We do this stuff. And then finally in the upper right, we put the kind of stuff that we would do that with the intention of, forwarding our relationship with those who are important to us. So for example, you might talk to your loved one. So talk
to your wife.
Right. Talk to your wife.
And then we have husband. You might do something to move toward your husband.
There you go. And there's many things that people do. You can think of them probably.
They're not with you. You could text them, for example. You could text that person.
Now we got talk and text. What else might you do?
For your a daughter or a son, you're going to maybe, I don't know. What might you do?
If anybody has any more.
Let's see.
If they want to grow in there.
Well, I would say go for a walk. You can also do something over here, go for a walk to go toward the relationship with that.
Yeah, there's an example of how a behavior can be an away behavior. Make their favorite meal. Very nice for you.
There you go. I like that.
I mean, you can go for a walk to relieve stress. You can go for a walk to connect with your loved ones and stuff.
You can have physically
very important. Listening is very important. And,
very good. That's it. That's the idea.
Right. And that's the stuff that you do.
And then we're just writing it up there like that.
Like a relationship. Yeah. And then at this point, we usually say, anytime during your day, you might have the opportunity to notice that stuff showing up. So you might notice who's important to you. You might notice yucky stuff showing up. If you're like me, you'll notice it showing up. You might notice yourself doing an away move. And you might notice yourself doing toward moves. And there's that notice. So I will ask, does anybody on here think that they'll do the noticing thing? They might have the opportunity to do noticing of who's important and yucky stuff and away moves and toward moves. You never know.
Yeah. It could happen. Doesn't have to happen. Yes, it takes
a lot of practice, huh? But you at least have the opportunity to do it, and that's what you do. And mindfulness really helps. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
Absolutely.
But, yep. So this somehow you might notice that stuff.
All of that stuff.
And that's really, and you're noticing this point of view. That's all you're doing. Is just
looking at things
noticing yourself from this point of view. That's all you're doing. So, we go at that pretty hard, because if you go in there with an expectation of something, that's a mental activity that can really muck up the works. It's like she mentioned mindfulness. It would be like sitting down and saying, okay, I'm going to be a much better person with this mindfulness. Now I will be mindful and I will be better. That's not going to work for mindfulness. That's just going to muck up
right out of it.
All right. Well, it's the same with this. It's better just to notice. Just to notice and get the feel for noticing yourself. For this
light. It's easy to do.
Right. And so just cool it on yourself and just notice stuff. There you go.
Noticing. There you go. Right. That's another level of it. Right.
It's cool with it. Okay.
Yep.
And a lot of times people use just noticing.
Yeah.
Just noticing. So that's good here in the USA, that language. Now we get to the crux of what we're on to talk about today. Is the next part is you with other people, oftentimes called the we matrix. So what we just did was the me matrix. That's that individual looking at themselves from the point of view. So now we're going to have you connected to everyone, your partners, your friends, your community,
neighbors, coworkers,
all the way out to everybody on the earth. Because that's the collective we. That's everybody. And the question we asked to start that conversation off is, what's our shared purpose? And so then you shrink it down to, like, today, we're together right now. What might be our shared purpose today?
What's brought us together?
All right. What might have brought us here? And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just whatever you think might have brought you here. It's fine. Practice the matrix. There you go.
That's it.
Right there you go. I could say, here, I'll put in. I put in psychological safety.
Yeah.
Most people, when you say that, would like to have psychological safety.
Yeah, Manuel says
broadening horizons.
All right.
Broadening horizons.
Broadening.
And we'll say yay to any of this stuff. I mean, it's like the subject line was intriguing. I like it. Thank you.
Subject line. Intrigue brought you.
Right. We put a little bit of effort into those subject lines.
Yeah.
But that's cool. And so we're looking. So this is ProSocial. So now this is you.
Clear understanding of our world.
Right. This is you sitting in your world. You know, the me, the person you talk to there, and now you're looking around, and it's just your social environment, and
who's around it with you, where you live, perspective taking. That's very important. Yep.
And so, I mean, you can talk about what's our shared purpose worldwide. Could you make it different ones for different? Oh, you can do. Yeah. Yes, Frida, you can do that.
Yeah, depending on why you're gathering, it's going to...
We're very flexible on that. Yes, most definitely. You can do that. But for today, we're just going to loop around. Within the context of shared purposes, that is when you start working with another individual or several other individuals or whatever, there's like a special class of yucky stuff that shows up.
Oh, yeah.
real
unto itself.
Real fast.
Yeah.
It can show up. Chad says ego.
Oh.
It's mainly this horrible feeling that my ego might get damaged.
Yeah,
is what he's referring to. That's the short.
Other people are around. It shows up.
And absolutely, Julie, that's exactly
social anxiety. Here you go.
The social anxiety, in many people shows up, and somebody I think mentioned frustration on the first loop.
Yes, they did.
I guarantee you, frustration shows up.
Along with the angst, I think.
The angst when you're looking at your relationship and working with other people towards shared purpose. Definitely. What else? Anger can show up.
Competition.
Competition can show up. And in this case, he's saying competition feeling yucky. And it can.
Yep.
It can.
Fear, Chad says. You're fear again.
Oh, and jealousy found it. The green-eyed monster of jealousy has shown up. That's a huge one, folks.
Yeah.
I noticed and you'll notice that just any of us really past kindergarten can think of this yucky stuff that shows up in the context of working with other people towards shared purpose. It's just we know.
Yep.
It's just we know it shows up, and
we've been there and done that.
And then we have these another set of away behaviors. Now, some of them are just standard away behaviors.
Yeah, the usual stuff
we do within ourselves, but there's also some that are really we haul out for when we're working with others.
Just give it to your group.
Like when we're protecting our egos.
Yeah, right.
We haul out these behaviors to protect our egos. So what might we do? Or and feeling socially anxious or angry,
or fear or anxiety shows up. What might someone do?
Stay silent.
That's it, right. Stay silent.
One of the most popular ones, clamming up, not sharing ideas,
or that's the opposite. The other way.
The opposite is brag. So that's the two ends of that continuum, which is the people who just shut up, and then the other people that go all way off on the other side of the continuum and they brag and they talk a lot and stuff. And sarcasm is one.
Oh, sarcasm, yeah.
Absolutely. It's good to have lots of sarcasm when you're paying attention that you know why you're doing it. Sarcasm, that is. It may get left out, but it's worldwide gossip.
Very popular.
It's worldwide. It's gossip. We talk about other people and, as an away move. So we could go on and on and on. I mean, this is something we can go. We're just teaching you how you can look at things.
Becoming argumentative, yes. Arguing, yes. Right.
Start using jargon. Oh, very good one, Ron. Yes. Go to your expertise and start using your jargon.
Use big words. Jargon.
Whatever you're an expert at, you start using your jargon.
Demonstrate your expertise to the group. See how that works out.
And you see it in all walks of life, just everybody doing it. So finally, the $1 million question, of course, is what kind of behaviors are we going to do to move toward the shared purpose? And some of them are universal, and some of them are very specific to the shared purpose at hand. Here's an example. If we were all going to be pushing a wagon up a hill, well, we would want to come up with some very specific behaviors for each one of us to do to push the wagon, right? But the universal thing would be we would need to communicate with each other about the different tasks, different jobs we're going to do in pushing the wagon. So communication shows up as a universal. And so with that, you can right now we'll stick with the universals of what's sort of right down the middle of the road stuff, like communication, that you might
that you do to move toward
in regards to working with people toward a shared purpose.
toward a shared purpose.
Going to communicate with them.
Something we'd see you do or hear you do. Compromise.
Boom, boom, boom. Right.
Yeah.
I'll throw in one in there. I'm going to quote Aretha Franklin. RESPECT. Respect. Right. Treat each other with respect is very, very, very. Be persistent, right?
And persist.
Be authentic. So, and these are the kind of things that just make working with other
inclusive.
Right. Make working be clear. Oh, that's a nice one. See, and that's the opposite of the jargon. Summarize other statements. Oh, very nice. Recognize people's strengths. Oh, very nice. Right. All of this stuff, you can tell it's the kind of stuff that lubricates the shared purpose.
Pulls people together.
All right, pulls people together, gets it going. Right.
Being open to ideas. Right.
And active listening. That's
great.
So
all that stuff. Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure that all of you run through your days working with other people, absolutely doing all of this stuff with with no problems whatsoever.
Yeah. Just a free, smooth sailing day.
It's just warm fuzzies all over the place. Right. Well, now we get into humans, right?
You got it.
Humans being humans. But so what we're doing with this diagram is taking a look at ourselves, so we can take a look at ourselves. Okay, and but toward the idea that we really do want to get some shared purposes accomplished. It's a really, like if you go about building a house, it's really nice to get a house built. You know, if you go about pushing that wagon up a hill, it's really nice to get the wagon to the top of the hill. You know, it's just really nice to get stuff done, accomplish some stuff, you know, and it feels good because humans are very social animals. And it does feel really good when we've come together and accomplished something
together. Something together.
And that's the team, you know, football teams, soccer teams and stuff.
Coming together for a common goal.
Right. You see that. And it's cool. It's fun. And humans are very social and like to do that. Falls out of the wagon. Well, see, that's one of the jobs right there.
There you go. See, you're right.
Be very clear about that. This wagon's filled with manure.
How are we going to handle that?
We're going to handle the manure.
See, I think it's the same thing, right? You got a job to do. And this is wonderful. And if you're talking and communicating, you can figure this stuff out. Okay, so this is the point of view that we're using. Yeah.
Phil and I have done this for 11 years now.
Yes.
So we are just very familiar. So that's when we both read the article and we went, oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And so, so there's both the individual level and the group level. Okay. So first we'll look at it. So one of the first things in the article, and I'm looking at the article. So when you see me looking over there, I'm looking.
Yeah, I've got it up over here too.
Both of our eyes was the marshmallow test. And I would imagine that most of you are familiar with the marshmallow test.
People know the marshmallow test.
He says, well, we'll just say he's picking. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Krugman does not like Trump. He don't like him. So if you're a Trump supporter, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just know that Krugman's
It
not.
ain't coming from that point of view.
So Trump allies were so eager to see big jobs numbers, they ignored both infection risk and the way a resurgent pandemic would undermine the economy. As I and others have said, they failed the marshmallow test.
Yes.
Sacrificing the future because they weren't willing to show a little patience. That's an individual. Okay.
Yeah, marshmallow test assessed.
Right, we're going to tell you about it.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it.
Little videos. You can go on YouTube and find.
Check it out.
And as so these brilliant researchers came up with the idea. Now they use more than just marshmallows.
They have a bag of marshmallows, so they got something.
And they do some song and dance with a kid, you know, and they put some marshmallows or some candy right in the middle of the table, and then say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I need to go do something. I need to go get a telephone call. Right. You sit here patiently while I go get it."
And then when I come back,
somewhere along the way, they know they're not supposed to eat the candy.
Yeah.
Okay. Researcher heads out the door. Stopwatch goes.
There's that kid staring at that marshmallow.
And there's a kid with a table with candy right in front of him.
Kind of.
And it's sort of like watching.
Touch it, pulls hand back.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious to watch them. And if you pass, in quotes, pass the marshmallow test, means that you delayed gratification because you're going to get the candy later on, right?
Yeah.
So you delayed gratification until the appropriate time. You didn't sneak the marshmallow or you didn't go for the candy, you know. And so there's the whole gamut of people that the researcher goes out the door and 3 seconds later they're in the candy, you know.
A few of them.
No delayed gratification.
Oh, right in there.
You know, all the way up to the ones, you know, that squirm and squirm and squirm for a while and then finally do it. Then some don't. They pass the test. They touch it. So what he's referring to that, the marshmallow test. And but that's an individual thing. Notice what I'm describing is a child
by himself or herself,
by themselves. So it's their matrix, you know. It's them, and they got and they got lower left stuff showing up, and they got lower right stuff showing up, and then a behavior emerges. And so what they're referring to is how well we humans can flunk the marshmallow test. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, there's a few people
here is there consequences on a national, international level for flunking the marshmallow test? Well, turns out there can be if your behavior is connected to many other behaviors. The kids, it was pretty independent. It was just
they were. No one else was involved.
There was not else, but the rest of us, if we can't put off today, or wait for a few weeks to get something. So whatever he's referring to was the first loop of the matrix.
Yeah,
and how people can notice their internal stuff, and then choose what kind of behaviors they want to do. And that's essentially the kids who pass the marshmallow test. Okay, as it is developing this ability to notice. Come on, folks! If I was sitting in front of that stuff and I was hungry, I'd be wanting to grab them too.
Oh, my mouth would start to water.
Right, your mouth waters and all that stuff. You want one? I hope I could pass it. Who knows? Not that, but you think you can. But the thing is, you're going to be better off if you can notice all this stuff showing up inside of you. And simply notice it. Right. You can notice all that showing up. And you can say, well, I could go ahead and do the behavior and eat it. However, in these few little microseconds of time, I can choose not to do that as well. I can wait. And especially I can wait if it's for the greater good. And now I just hit ProSocial. And boom. And that's why these two diagrams are so connected, because maybe not a kid sitting in the thing, but an adult what we're expecting out of everybody is that leap, is that I'm going to wait. It's an individual thing. I'm going to wait. And my waiting is connected to doing better for the greater good.
For the greater good.
Okay. And so that's like noticing
procrastination showing up, that's hard.
That's, of course it's hard.
Yeah.
But if you can start noticing your procrastination showing up and going, cool, my procrastination has shown up.
There it is again.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's shown up again.
There's my good old friend, procrastination showing up again.
I mean, I will ask all of you this question. We'll get on to this, but I mean, do you think you'll have the opportunity to notice procrastination showing up within you in the next year or so? What do you think?
Deborah's just laugh. Big yes from Tina.
Right, so you're going to have the opportunity to notice procrastination showing up. Well, you know, what I'm saying,
Kevin, how about the next 10 minutes?
What I'm saying is there's some pretty interesting stuff to notice about procrastination. Yeah. Get interested in it. You know, it's okay. Look at it.
Get intrigued with your procrastination.
Right. So it's really easy to diss on stuff, and it's easier to do. It's easier to wait and not eat the candy if you're just going, oh, there's procrastination showing up again. How interesting. I can play around and notice this procrastination for a while. And while I'm doing that, I'm not eating the candy, and I'm not eating the candy for the greater good. Okay. So that's how we're saying how you can talk about this. And even the marshmallow test, at least for adults, and say, well, how might an adult go about passing the get my quotes in there. Passing the marshmallow test. Well, that's how you do it. You would notice the urges showing up. And notice the urges showing up.
That's it.
What you do. And then you notice that you do have a choice. And then you start thinking, well, why would I choose not to eat them? And in this case, given we're in the pandemic, you're choosing not to eat the marshmallow because it means something for the greater good. And that means you've just crossed over into the we matrix.
Right.
You've begun thinking about other people.
You've expanded your awareness to others.
What Paul Krugman is saying is there's a bunch of people not leaping.
And they're not making that jump.
They're not making that jump.
Nope.
They're staying with the selfish. I'm in it for me. It's all about me.
Maybe over here on this side of the matrix. Or
whether I eat the marshmallow or not, it's just to do about me, and nothing else. So we wanted to talk about that. And when he says flunking the he's just saying flunking it in terms of they eat the marshmallows.
Right.
The person walks out and they just grab them and just eat them. We're talking about it a little more nuanced in that you're looking at that decision to eat the marshmallow or not eat the marshmallow, but you're suddenly broadening your horizon of your point of view. Somebody pointed out and saying, well, maybe it's a pretty no-cost thing to me to eat the marshmallow, but might that eating of the marshmallow negatively affect other people or positively affect other people? Just will it affect other people? So that's another part of it that we add on. And so there we go. So now we go to the next one because now we're there. Like, well, why are we all sitting here working at not eating marshmallows? It's probably because we got a shared purpose. And now what's the shared purpose? And so that's where the next part of his thing goes along.
For example, if I think my idea is so good, I go off and start without consensus.
Is that in the article?
Well, no, that's Frida saying that. She's saying, so for example, if I think my idea is so good, I go off and start without consensus. I mean well, but...
Well, now nobody knows your...
Yeah.
Well, they may know what you want to do, but it's not a shared purpose.
You haven't made it known to the group.
Dude, it's not a. So does that language of shared purpose? If you're going to be an authoritarian, like an authoritarian parent, you're going to say you have to do it this way.
Yeah,
you have to do it this way, and to a certain extent, you can get away with that.
I have. I know I have.
You know, but I think most of us know that that's dangerous territory to get in with.
Beyond the confines of my domain.
That can get you in trouble. So your idea with no consistency, your consensus is basically saying, I've thought of this great way of doing things, and we're going to do it that way. Right. And it's really an authoritarian way of doing it.
Yeah.
Now we're going to mass
communication there too that we talked about, right?
And so what we're saying, to cut to the chase, is exactly it. And people have started talking about mask wearing, so then they know where we're going with this, because the mask is the marshmallow.
Yeah.
It's right. So, you know what? I own about 50 of those masks now, and I don't have.
Oh yeah, I know.
They're up in my office. I really don't have to wear a mask here.
Yeah. Laying all over my house.
All right, but it is not here.
Car.
But anyway, when you pick that up, you know, it's your individual decision of whether you're going to wear it or not.
Putting it on or not.
Right, put it on or not. And it most definitely is. I mean, I'm not going to take that away from you, of course. You're the one that puts it on, you know. And that's your own behavior, and that's your own marshmallow test.
Yeah.
Right. That's your marshmallow test, folks.
We go through every day. We're taking the marshmallow test every day.
Several times a day, right? Yeah. Well, in reality, we all take the marshmallow test every time we go by a refrigerator, right? Yeah. Or the cupboard or something.
Yep.
I know sometimes Phil and I will talk about it Christmas time or Easter or whatever, when they'll have bowls of candy.
All the goodies out.
Right. Well, come on. Just think marshmallow test.
Right.
And many of us don't do well at that test at all. Right.
Not at the holidays.
We eat the marshmallows, right?
Yeah, that's right. They're there.
And so notice we're being very kind, and we're not trying to pick on folks.
Not dissing on people.
But we really need to look at things. But you need, okay, but whatever it is, whether it's taking candy or marshmallows or putting a mask on, you really need to have a clear sense of shared purpose. You know, for your own, and also for your own. So if I'm not going to eat a marshmallow, what am I trying to do with my life in not eating the marshmallow?
What is the purpose of not doing this?
Right. I mean, is it to whatever it might be, for me to be a better person, a skinnier person, or buffer person, or whatever target I've set for myself. You know, that's about me putting on the mask or not putting it on. But then I consider, okay, but for the greater scheme of things, what does it mean? Right. Once you jump over to the next scheme, that's shared purpose.
Yeah.
And, well, I'll put it this way, folks. Instead of Krugman, we ain't getting the wagon up the hill. That's the problem. And one, nobody's defined getting the wagon up the hill.
Right.
We're all over the place.
Not having conversations about that.
Right. And obviously, if I got 10 people to push a wagon and I got 9 people doing it, I'm going to get the wagon up the hill.
Pretty much.
So the 10th person is whatever, you know.
Yeah.
There's one in every crowd, right? You know, we can deal with the one, but we can't deal with 3, 4, 5 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Not going to work.
We're not going to get the wagon up the hill. And that's sort of what we're doing right now, is in the United States, that is. that we don't have that clear sense of shared purpose. And so he didn't write it this way. He's sort of this saying,
there you go. Yeah, okay.
In Belgium too.
Yeah,
I didn't know
manual
that.
system Belgium too. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
But he didn't write it that way. But we're sort of scientists, and we're sort of, we're both psychologists. By the way, we're both psychologists. He's a school psychologist, not a clinical psychologist. And we do the Matrix.
Right.
And we run around teaching people how to look at things from this point of view. So we don't run around dissing on people.
No.
Then you'll just know that we don't. We just don't. We don't diss on people. Why? Because that would get in the way of us showing people this point of view and inviting them to look at things from this point of view.
Right.
And that's what
engaging them in the conversation.
Right. Where our mission is to engage people in these conversations, and especially shared purpose, in this case, shared purpose conversations. And so we're not going to diss on people, but we know statistically we're doing a very bad job in the United States in regards to coronavirus, both economically and health-wise. We can all see the freaking wagons just being overturned and into the ditch, and it's like it's
abandoned on the side of the road.
Right, it's not making it. And hell, we can see it sort of up close and personal in some ways, and at least on national statistics and stuff, we can see we're not doing a good job. So we're saying we're inviting people to look at things from this point of view, and saying, well, let's all ask this question: what's our shared purpose?
Yeah.
Really, what is it? And then have people talk about it. And I'm not going to diss on people about what their opinion of their shared purpose is. That's that. Once again, Phil and I's job is to get people looking at it, to get them engaged,
engaging and sharing and communicating.
Right.
Back to communication.
We want to do that. So, but we do want to ask people, well, okay, what's our shared purpose? Yeah. What are we about? Because it's obvious to us that we know we don't have a clear shared purpose. Phil and I know that. We
abundantly clear.
We don't have. We are professionals. We can say without beyond a shadow of a doubt that we do not have a clear shared purpose in the United States, and probably in many other places around the world. And we need to have that discussion. It is not incumbent on just the people in charge to have that discussion. Anybody can start that. We try to. We don't have a very big following, so we can only start that discussion with a few people, but we hope by getting more and more people involved in
to have these kinds of
people. They support us on Patreon.
Down there.
Down there on that green button in the bottom, they help support us, and we try and get this out.
Yeah.
So people will start having. But what we're really focused on today is the shared purpose. And you can do the yucky stuff and this and that and the other, but we know scientifically 80% of the problem is the lack of shared purpose.
Really, people not being lined up on what the shared purpose is.
So don't worry about the other stuff.
No.
Yeah, what's the shared purpose?
Because if you don't have that, then the other stuff isn't going to really much matter in the long run. You have to have a shared purpose.
Right. It's not. So, I mean, in terms of maybe a lot of people don't have the purpose of trying to get a handle on the virus and keeping the economy going well. I mean, that's a couple of things I would say is part of what I think is the shared purpose. Maybe there's people out there that don't share that.
They have a different shared purpose.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
What is your purpose? What are you heading toward? So then we can we can then understand each other,
right?
What the different purposes are. My relatives and
I don't believe the numbers.
I don't. Oh yeah, there you go. Now that's a disconnect from their five senses experience.
Right. big time.
One of the things we deal with a lot is that humans take great stock in what their minds are up to. And they do that because of the power of human language. We're all brought into this world very five senses beings. You know, we smell, we see, we hear. That's why we put five senses at the top. As we learn language throughout our lives, and the language becomes very rich. There's a whole science, there's lots of science behind it, but you just know you can think a thought and feel horrible. Well, nothing was really happening when you thought the thought. I mean, nobody hit you.
Nope.
Nobody said anything to you.
Nothing happened on the outside.
You just thought the thought, and boom, it really hurts you. Well, that's the power of language and how much. Well, then people they start taking their own minds way too dang seriously and not paying attention to their five senses. And that's where stuff like dogma comes in, you know, prejudices and stuff. And that's really lofting up the human mind to levels that it's just not. It's made up.
Overinflated sense of self-importance. Most minds have.
Most minds do. Mine included.
Including my own.
Mine thinks it's really cool.
Yeah,
you know?
really.
And as soon as I remember who's telling me that,
right,
there's the problem.
There you go. Time and time again.
Right. I mean, and if you look at it that way, it's like when your own mind is telling you this stuff, you got to say, oh, yeah, it's my own mind telling me this stuff. It's
doing it again.
To me, it can be full of shit. A whole lot of it. And so what you're dealing with there are folks like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to, you know how we do it? We show them the point of view and have them look at the point of view.
Yeah.
We don't try and take them on directly.
No. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything.
What you're doing with this diagram is helping people lift themselves up out of the mind and look at a more complete picture.
So pull them up out of the bottom of their mind up here so they can see more about what's going on.
Right. It's called confirmation bias. And what it is, your mind gets to believe in something. And then your ego is just so fragile,
convinced
that it doesn't want any conflicting information to get in, because pretty quickly is like for the conflicting information to get in, and it's coming in from the five senses. It's like it damages my ego. It damages me. It hurts me. And then fear shows up. And what's the great way to deal with that? Ignore it. Or another way of saying it is like you say, I don't believe the numbers. I don't believe that. That's just fake news. That's just it. Da-da-da. It's like, well, there's real problems with that. Now, we don't really take that on directly because guess what? They won't take it in.
They're going to argue even stronger for that.
You'll just dig their heels in.
Hang on to it even more.
It's not going to work. We know that. We don't like getting in those kind of things. So we say, hey, do you want to take a look at a point of view?
Yeah.
And they will. Well, those folks will look at this point of view. We have lots of people with very strong opinions that will take a look at this point of view, and they'll even say, well, that's really cool. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah.
We just want them to look at it. And hopefully it brings them up a little bit up out of the mind toward the middle. And technically, folks, that's called psychological flexibility.
Right here.
We just increase their perspective. And so we don't, you just know that minds are very tough to work with. And we know that. So we do it this way. So we invite you to do it this way. You're all deputized. Everybody who listens.
Now you are, yes.
You can go show people the matrix, both loops of it. The first loop is about who's important to, me and then my yucky stuff and my away moves and my toward moves. Then the second loop is, well, what's the shared purpose? What am I working with other people toward? And what kind of yucky stuff shows up? And that's where that's that ego thing is showing up. That's where that ego thing is showing up right there, because okay, we need to be working with others, but when you're dealing with other people, it's so easy for your ego to get in there, and you're scared to death that somebody is going to, you know,
Attack you.
Well, but they're going to say you're stupid,
Right.
or they're going to.
It's like feeling like you're being attacked.
You're right. You're going to feel like you're being attacked, and people's defensive.
And then you get defensive. Then you do defensive maneuvers.
And then it's all about the mind. The mind protects itself, right? So what we do, we just run around showing people this point of view.
Yeah, that's it.
We have the craziest, or we gave ourselves the craziest of jobs, which was running around showing people this point of view.
Yeah.
I've had people say, "Would you show it to the White House?" Well, of course I'd show it.
Yeah, why not?
That would be like saying, do you have a picture? Would you please go into the White House and show them the picture? Well, of course I'd go show them.
Chad just
I got a picture of my grandchildren. When I go into the White House and show them a picture of my grandchildren, well, sure, here you go. There's a picture. I'm going to show it to them. I don't have a problem. That's why we can do it this way, folks. It's because we're just going to go show them the point of view.
Wait a couple of months so someone will listen to you.
Frida says, have to listen to me.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the great thing about this, Frida. They don't have to listen. They just gotta see the point of view.
Show them something. That's all.
And I don't. And then I'll walk back out. They'll say, "Did it?" You might ask me, "Did it do any good?" And I'll say, "I have no idea."
Yeah, we don't know. We just want to go in and show them something.
I don't want to show it. I just want to show it to people. So it's just to go that mantra that we have.
You need someone saying,
"Oh, actually, no. I've shown this to psychotic people and done very well with it." So, literally on your technical definition.
Yeah.
I have worked inpatient psychiatry.
Yeah. Very squirrely people in my time too.
I had a pretty good time. I've also shown it to the criminally insane, homicidal people. No, you have to have language.
Yeah, you need language, Chad.
You need language, and because language is the problem.
Yeah, because they don't get hung up on this language stuff. Animals
are just animals being animals, but they're not getting hung up on thinking about.
They're very tuned into the 5 cents,
ego, bruise, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's language is the problem. So and attacking language with language is tricky, to say the least. So we show a diagram instead.
Yeah.
With that horse whisperer. Oh, sure.
Oh, yes. Right. Yes.
Go in with your head down and show people the matrix.
Right. And the horse whisperer was working with traumatized horses that were traumatized by humans.
Yes. Anybody in that world will tell you most of the time those horses have people problems.
Yeah. The buck, right? That's what Buck said. And he helped horses with people problems, right?
Right. And why is that? Because the people got ego.
Yeah.
And they start thinking, if this horse doesn't do just what I want it to do, they are really making a negative comment and about my ego, and I'm going to get my ego hurt, and I'm going to protect it. So then I beat on the horse or do something else. And the horses now they're very exquisitely attuned to people because they might get eaten. And so they pick up on that anxiety and crap, and they have a lot of trouble. So go in with your head down and with no expectations whatsoever, and there you go. And notice that's how I was talking about the White House.
That was the same thing, folks.
Same thing. I go in, show them the matrix, walk back out. What was your expectations? Didn't have any.
Didn't have any going in?
Except I really did expect to show them the matrix.
Yeah.
I really did. I'll admit that. I expected to show them that. Both loops.
We'd like to have that opportunity to do that.
And then I'm good. Then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I'll go on about your business. I go on about my business. Why? And another reason why we would do it that way is because then it makes it very repeatable.
Yeah.
Right. We're not going to
do it anywhere.
We're not going to get wore out
Right.
doing it by having it. But it's very much. It's funny you brought up the horse whisperer.
Yeah, that is,
because Phil would know that the way I was describing going into the White House was a horse whisperer way of doing it.
Yeah. We probably tweet the
president and right to the White House. You go right ahead. I doubt it. I mean, people do whatever. But anyway, back to the Krugman article. The way to get about this now, his heart's in the right place, right?
It surely is.
People are going to stop being selfish and start being pro-social based on his article.
What are the chances, folks?
Drum roll, please. I'm sure it made him feel good, and I like him, and I've heard him talk, and it's all good. And I don't think he's going to change one mind whatsoever.
Nope.
It does what Phil and I. Well, he's talking pro-social, so we're giving our take on it. Well, how we would approach this.
That's
so we would show people the marshmallow test. That's the me matrix, and then we would show them the pro-social.
She says it seems to a lot about letting people make better decisions by encouraging them to think more clearly.
Yeah, I guess it is more clear. It has more five senses experiencing.
Yeah.
So we do that. We do that. So yeah, it's sort of fun. And we invite you to do it. We invite you to support us on Patreon.
Sign up and be a patron.
We may even get a production assistant and make this look all whiz big.
Someday. I think it's looking better and better, Kevin.
If you support us at 25
at the 25 level.
And we got a new pamphlet out. Not a pamphlet.
Oh yeah.
We try for
Ching, there it is.
I can't see it with a flip.
Oh well, you can't see it, but
I don't know what's in it with your camera today, but it is not working very well.
I'm clear at this end too. Interesting. I'm jealous.
Must be low bandwidth.
So the cool thing about this is that you can actually go and get this through a company called National Professional Resources. They're making this laminated nprinc.com.
And look up the matrix and
look up the Act Matrix, and there it is.
And for
and if you put in the code
$12.95, you can get your very own. But well, that's true. That's it. I mean, you could get Phil to send you one instead of a T-shirt.
That's yeah. If you want to swap out the T-shirt, I'll be more than happy to request that.
We can't do both. We ran the numbers. It won't work.
It would be able to afford to do the webinars anymore.
If you go look at our Patreon page, we don't make that much money.
No. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme.
No, we're not doing that.
Don't do that.
No, we're not doing that. So anyway, that's our take on it. The ProSocial look at the cult of selfishness, where it's really okay. So there's this thing called the cult of selfishness. Okay, whatever. Here, do you have a diagram? I have a diagram I'd like to show you.
Yeah.
And that's how we deal with it. We just. Oh, well, if you have a matrix T, somebody said it, you can now just
say,
matrix. Here, I'll show you my shirt.
Yeah. That's right.
A little weird.
That'll work.
There it goes right here.
Yeah. It's right down here.
Who's right here? It goes right down here.
It's important to you.
Well, you can tell we have fun with this, but we can have fun with it because we keep showing people a point of view. So if Mr. Krugman ever listens in, hey, we can show you how to show people this point of view and see. The number one thing, folks, all kidding aside, we need to get talking about shared purpose. We need to have a
takeaway for today.
National and worldwide conversation about shared purpose.
That's the takeaway.
That's a biggie. We're not doing a very good job of that right now. That's a fact. That is a fact, folks. We're not doing a good job of that. But I think we're done.
We have done it again, Kevin.
Oh my God, wasted another perfectly good hour.
Yes, absolutely. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, which is our take on. There's an old show on in America called Car Talk, and people said we sounded like Click and Clack or Car Talk.
The Tappet brothers.
The Tappet brothers, and so and their line was, "You've wasted another perfectly good hour
listening to us."
listening to us. But anyway, we hope you spread it around, give it to other people.
You're very welcome.
Put it all around, really. And the more people and get the diagram, the trifold, and go to people, or get a T-shirt, and a trifold. If you like $50, you can do both. We would do that.
It's a twofer.
That's a twofer for 50. That's right. Okay. Anyways, bye, folks.
See ya.
See you in a minute, Phil.
Okay. Take care. See you, everybody. Have a nice weekend.